Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the Roland Grimes Sports and Entertainment Show. I'm your host, Roland Bubba Grimes, and once again, we thank you for joining us out there in TV land. I want to reintroduce you once again to my resident co-host, Mr. Self-Empowerment himself, Wilbert Skipper. Skip, man, it's always good to see you.
Same here, Roland.
All right, look, we lost a little bit of space on our set right now because we have some heavyweights with us.
Absolutely.
So when I say heavyweight, I mean that literally.
Super heavyweight.
Ladies and gentlemen, to my near right and your near left, I have a gentleman who's actually a heavyweight contender, prize fighter, hails right from the Washington D.C. Woo. Y'all forgive me. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hails right here from the Washington, D.C. area. Grew up right here in Prince George's County, Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, heavyweight contender, Mr. Seth Mitchell. Seth, glad to have you on our show, man.
Glad to be here, glad to be here.
Good gracious, boy, your hands bigger than mine. That never happened before. All right, look, you brought some people with you, man. Who are these distinguished gentlemen sitting to your right?
This is my manager, Sharif Salim, and my trainer, Andre Hunter.
Super, super. You know, a little bit earlier, I actually got kind of tongue twisted because I'm not used to sitting next to anybody who can actually whip me. So this is kind of a new thing. So I just want to let you know right off the bat. Seth, if I ask you any questions that you don't want to answer, man, it's cool. All right, just let it go. Just keep on moving, and I'm cool with that, all right? Look, man, welcome again. You have some dynamic things going on, but let's go back before we go forward. Now, you actually started your athletic career in another sport. Tell us a little bit about that.
Played football and basketball growing up. Like I said, I'm from Prince George's County, grew up in Brandywine. I went to Gwynn Park High School where I played football and basketball. And football is where I really excelled. Played middle linebacker, was All-American, Player of the Year for the state of Maryland. I graduated in 2001 from Gwynn Park and received a full ride athletic scholarship to Michigan State University where I graduated in 2005. Had some knee problems, so that forced me to end my football career. But it didn't, discourage me to, continue my dreams and try to excel in something athletic. And that's when I saw a former football player, Tom Zbikowski. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he was a safety at Notre Dame during the time. And I was watching the Contender one day and saw him have success in his pro debut at Madison Square Garden, and the light bulb went off in my head. And I said, I think I can do this, and I'm going to try it, and the rest is history. I'm 24-0-1, 18 knockouts, and, slated as one of the America's hope. So.
Okay. Super. Now, how did those folks from East Lansing, Michigan come to Brandywine, Maryland, and get you to play for the Spartans of Michigan State?
I was fortunate enough to have a lot of scholarship offers. I believe I had like 30-something scholarship offers to various schools. But I knew my style of play was very physical and intense. And at the time, the Big Ten Conference was more of a smash mouth conference. So I narrowed it down. I knew I was going to go to a school in the Big Ten. And after I took my visit to Michigan State, and I loved the campus, I felt at home, loved the head coach and the team members. I just felt, at home with them. So it was a done deal for me, and I got to keep my high school number. That was icing on the cake.
Is that right? Well, real quick, who are some of those 1 or 2 individuals that came into your life at the tail end of your football career who actually encouraged you or empowered you to get into the boxing game?
Well, it really wasn't anybody. When I tell people that I never thought about boxing, I really never thought about boxing. And once I saw Tom Zbikowski and my competitive juices start flowing again, I called back home to my high school offensive coordinator, Maurice Banks, and that was the first person that I told, I'm serious about boxing, this is what I want to do. Do you know of anybody that you can introduce me to, to start my career? And that's when he introduced me to my manager, Sharif Salim. They've known each other since they was 14 years old. Long time ago.
One long.
Mr. Sharif, this won't be a long question. So tell the truth now. What was your first reaction when they brought this gentleman to you and said, hey, this is somebody that we think could be a prize fighter?
Well, again, Maurice Banks and I go back to childhood, and I just never, not long, but I've never known him to be a person to exaggerate, even when he was very young. Not prone to hyperbole. He's just a guy that tells it like it is. And he told me about the character of this young man. So it was kind of like I have to believe him because he's never lied to me or anything else before. So when I met him, it was pretty much what Mr. Banks had said, Coach Banks had said about him. And after talking to him, I saw a serious young man who had a pursuit of purpose, and with that, we said, let's see if we can do that transformation from football player to boxing. And I'm not going to say it went quite seamless, but at the same time, every step of the way, every learning curve, every bump in ability was farther than what I expected.
Super. So he adjusted to some of those challenges and opportunities a little quicker and better than most of us who tried to go into boxing?
Absolutely. You have a combination of great athleticism. I mean, he played football, basketball. At the same time, he had strong work ethics. And you put those together, and you can learn just about anything, particularly in sports.
Well, I played fullback in college and high school, and I used to run into a few middle linebackers like Seth, and I learned a long time ago that their elevators don't always stop on every floor. Now, you can talk to Andre, when you're training him, and you tell him, give me one more, does he turn around and look at you and say, man, that's not enough, I need more. What is it like working with him?
It's fun. It's fun working with Seth. We develop a good relationship with each other. He's willing to work, do anything I ask him to do, and he's athletic, and so it kind of makes it easy.
Now, a typical routine for him now, as he's getting ready for the next level of competition or the next opponent. What's a typical day like for you in terms of your workouts? In training.
In training, depending on when we spar. If I'm sparring in the morning, typically about 9:30, I won't do my running in the morning. But say we normally go to the gym at 2 o'clock. I'm up at about 6:30, getting ready. By 7 o'clock, I'm running. So I go out and I run my 4 or 5 miles, and I'll come back home, eat breakfast, take my children to daycare. Yes, I'm the Renaissance man. I do it all.
Okay.
I take my kids to daycare, and then I come back home. I'm eating healthy. I take my nap at about 11:30, 12 o'clock to get ready to go back to the gym, and then we go to the gym and we have different things that we do, whether it's 10 or 12 rounds on the pads or the heavy bag when I'm doing exercise, and then after that I come home, still eating healthy, and then I don't eat after 8 o'clock when I'm really trying to get right. I don't eat after 8 o'clock. If I get a little hungry, I might have some fruit or something at night. But other than that, I'm in the bed by 10:30 every night. It's like Groundhog's Day, started all over again.
Okay, great. Mr. Skipper and I were having some conversations offline, and he had a couple of questions he wanted to pose to you guys, so I'm going to defer to him right now.
One of the things that we know that a lot of athletes, even non-professional athletes, struggle with is transition. Now, you made the transition from Virginia Beach before you came to Brandywine to live with your grandparents. I've done my homework.
Oh yeah, I see.
To live with your grandparents. So in doing that, when you were going through that transition, what was it like for you? Because I think a lot of young kids don't realize that sometimes in life, even when you're playing sports and you have high aspirations to be a professional football player, basketball player, etc., that there may be some transition periods in your life. How did you deal with that, and what was that transition like for you going through that during that period?
For me, it was like a blessing in disguise. I've always been blessed with athleticism and just the determination. But when I was in Virginia, I was growing up very fast. Saw a lot of bad things as far as drugs, abuse. My mom, in abusive relationships, being in roach-infested houses, lights cut off, water cut off, things of that nature. But I've always excelled in sports. So I tell people to this day, if I hadn't moved from Virginia and came to Maryland, and I didn't have a father figure in my life, but when I came to Maryland, I didn't have a father in my life, but when I came to Maryland, I encountered a lot of father figures, such as my basketball coach, my football coach, my godparents, and things of that nature. And if I hadn't moved to Maryland, I don't know where, you know, I would be. I could have been one of those stories where, oh, he had it all, but he went down the wrong path. So, you know, when I came up here, it was like 11 of us staying in a 3-bedroom house with my grandparents, and you know, it was just, for me, it was a blessing in disguise. But it was I definitely experienced and grew up a lot faster than I should have when I was in Virginia.
Great. We're going to come back to you, gentlemen. We're going to have a little bit more conversation about the world of Seth Mitchell at this point. And we have a live studio audience in front of us, and what we're going to do as we take this cutaway is we're going to do this little sort of, I would say, we're going to have a lottery pick, and we're going to try to figure out who in here knows what size shoes Roland Grimes wear and what size shoes Seth Mitchell wears, because Seth Mitchell is the only one in America who can't fit my shoes. We'll be back shortly to the Roland Grimes Sports and Entertainment Show. See you in a minute.
No, it depends.